The Middle East is running out of water, and parts of it are becoming uninhabitable. The region has witnessed persistent drought and temperatures so high that they are barely fit for human life. Add climate change to water mismanagement and overuse, and projections for the future of water here are grim. They're using more water than is available routinely through rain. And so groundwater levels are consequently falling because you're taking water out faster than it's being replenished by the rainfall, he said. That's what's happening in Iran, where a vast network of dams sustains an agricultural sector that drinks up about 90% of the water the country uses. Both declining rainfall and increasing demand in these countries are causing many rivers, lakes, and wetlands to dry up, Iceland said. The consequences of water becoming even scarcer are dire. Areas could become uninhabitable, tensions over how to share and manage water resources like rivers and lakes could worsen, more political violence could erupt. In Iran, Urmia has shrunk largely because so many people have exploited it, and some of the dams built in its basin mainly for irrigation have reduced the flow of water into the lake. Iran's water woes are already a deadly issue. In 1 week in July, at least 3 protesters were killed in clashes with security officers in demonstrations against water shortages in the country's southwest. The country is experiencing some of the driest conditions in 5 decades, according to the country's meteorological service. The Middle East's winters are projected to get drier the more the world warms, and while the summers will be wetter, the heat is expected to offset its water gains, according to scientists' latest projections published earlier this month by the UN Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change report. The other thing is, this rain is not necessarily going to be usual rain. There's going to be extreme rainfall, meaning that floods like those happening in China, in Germany, and Belgium, these floods will be a big problem for the Middle East.
This is really a big climate change issue. A study by the Iranian Energy Ministry found the demise of the lake was more than 30% attributable to climate change. These changes are not only having an impact on the amount of water available, they are also affecting quality. Lake Urmia is hypersaline, meaning it's very salty. As it has shrunk, the salt concentration has increased and gotten so extreme, using it for irrigation is damaging farmers' crops. The day the soil will become unfarmable is not far away, he said. A vicious cycle. In Jordan, one of the most water-stressed countries in the world, people have become used to living with very little water. In many Jordanian homes, water isn't necessarily available every day, said Daniel Rosenfeld, a professor with the program of atmospheric sciences at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Groundwater levels in parts of the country are dropping by well over 1 meter a year, studies show, and waves of refugees from many countries in the region have put extra pressure on the already stressed resource. Jordan bore the heavy load of the Syrian refugee crises on behalf of the international community and was deeply impacted regarding water. Refugees cost the water sector over $600 million per year, while Jordan received a fraction of this amount from the international community, he said. He added that Jordan had much less rain in 2020 than it did the previous year, putting more than a quarter of water resources at risk and halving drinking water sources. But it's not only climate change. The country relies on the Jordan River system, which also runs through Israel, the West Bank, Syria and Lebanon, and dams building along the rivers have severely cut the flow of water flow to Jordan. Jordan, too, uses canals to redirect the river's waters for irrigation. Conflict has flared several times around the river system in the past. It's a transboundary problem also seen in other parts of the region along the Euphrates and Tigris rivers, as well as in northern Africa along the Nile.
Jordan, Israel, and Syria have gotten better at coordinating management of the river system they rely on, but tensions often erupt. Experts have long warned that water scarcity worsened by climate change could lead to more conflict. As the climate continues to warm and water runs scarce, part of the solution in the Middle East will have to involve reducing water use in agriculture. That can also mean changing the kind of food farmers grow and export, Rosenfeld said. In Israel, for example, we used to grow a lot of oranges, but at some point, we realized that we are exporting water that we don't have, he said, adding that crops could also be engineered to be more resilient to heat and dryness. And Al-Mazrui, from King Abdulaziz University, said that dams could be better organized to consider changing rain patterns. Coordination on managing rivers that flow across countries also has to improve. But that's not going to help a farmer whose family has owned land for generations and can't necessarily move to wetter climes, or has little control over where a neighboring country might build a dam. Rod Al-Tamami, a 54-year-old father of 5 who lives in Diyala province northeast of Baghdad, relies on the Diyal River, a tributary to the Tigris River, for water. The Diyal has been drying up for years and has forced Al-Tamami to have his fruit production across his 3 farms. He and his fellow farmers are working on a water rationing schedule, and he sometimes waits up to a month for the water to come. That's what plagues Al-Tamami's mind all the time. Many farmers, including me, are seriously considering leaving this profession, which is inherited from father, from grandfather, and to start looking for more profitable jobs that guarantee a better future for our children.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe